is Bay Maz, and today I'm going to show you how to make a tornado box. The purpose of a tornado box is to be able to enter a tornado successfully and to leave a tornado successfully as well. But along that scale, you must make something that scales the weight of your creation so it takes the same amount of ease to get in and out of the tornado of a specific strength. So what I'm going to get into is how do you construct this box. So I recommend going to the Hunter Miscellaneous and then grabbing this. The reason why is that it's available to most people, number one. Number two, instead of having 6 plates surround an area or 12 or 20 plates to do the same thing, this is so much easier to start with this. So much more solid. It's even easy to walk on. So just get that box out. And we're going to need some kind of a door. So let's get your door prop. It's going to be a plate 1 by 2. You could use blocks as well, but just set it up like this. And if you don't know how to rotate, how you do that is that you hold shift, you hold E, and you hold left click. And then you wave your mouse up and down. Those 3 keys pressed all at the same time allow you to rotate a prop like this. How do you change the settings for that? So if you go to Utilities, User, Physics Gun Sandbox, Snap Angle minus set at 45, Rotation Sensitivity this, Wheel Speed is this, and just follow these settings if you want your Phys Gun to act exactly like mine. So the next step is that you're going to need to get a chair. You're going to need a chair to sit in to be able to ride the storm or be inside the box. So grab precision alignment, point 1 on the mass center of the box. Using left click, so I'll show that again. Left click the box just like that, with this tool in your hand, with this point dash mass center selected. Then do the same thing but hold shift, then hit the seat. Right click, then this is entity 1, this is entity 2. Entity 1 is going to go to entity 2. So point 2 is the entity we're moving, and the destination 2 is point 1, which is the box entity. We hit move, bring the seat right to the mass center of the box. Now the next thing we're going to do is, just so you're used to it, you can press point 1 with left click like this, hold shift, then you can press that to place a second point in the same spot. Right click the box, highlight it blue or a different color. When you right click with the precision tool, it'll become a certain color. That means it's selected. And when you select the entity, you select which point you want to attach the thing you've selected to. So this is the point that is going to be attached to the blue entity. It's going to be 2. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to create a ball socket. So by hitting R, we open this menu. We select entity 1 with point 1, entity 2 with point 2. Create constraint. We do that with left click, exit out of that little menu, and now we have a seat that can rotate anywhere on its own, and it can move freely in that little square without moving outside of the box. So the next step we're going to do, we're going to take a plate. This plate is going to keep that seat upright. So now we froze it in place, just like with the 3 keys I showed you in the first step. Then we hold shift, left click the plate, and we can hold shift and left click the seat. Now you might ask, like, this is backwards to what we did before, but I'll show you that it doesn't matter which way you do it as long as you set it up right. So point 1 is going to be the entity that I'm going to move first. I'm going to move that to point 2. So by doing that, I do that essentially. Saw how we placed the plate right into the middle of the seat. And now we're going to delete these 2 points. Weld this plate to that seat and make sure you click them both like the way I just did. So hold C, right click this plate, keep upright, just like that. You hold C and you left click that. You can't keep upright a seat, so that's why I have a plate that's attached to it that will keep it upright. Now, the next thing you're going to do is now you're going to place 2 points once again onto your seat by holding, so essentially what you do, left click the seat, hold shift, and then place another point. And now we're going to right click the box, attach that point to the box. Now we're going to false here, -40 on the X-min. On the Y, it's -40 as well. X max is +40, Y max is +40, X max is 0.001, and X max and Z max is 0.001. And all the friction is set to 0, force limit 0, torque limit 0. Free movement is checked. No collide is checked as well. Free movement makes it so it's not a distance constrained entity, so that means you could bring them apart as far as you want or close as you want, and there's not going to be any sort of gimbal or lock that's keeping it at a distance. So this is the difference between free movement and non-free movement, just so you didn't know. And now we're going to hit create constraint. Exit out of that menu. And there we have it. We have a seat that is being constrained. We have a plate that follows that seat. And now the next part we're going to install is, well, actually, we're not going to install anything yet. We're going to get our control plate. So we need a plate that stays frozen and stays with the world. So weld this to the ground. And then you no collide this with your box. That way when you use advanced dupe to copy it, when you copy this box with right click, it will take this entity as well. So you need that to occur. Or you need an area copy to get this to dupe with it. So don't forget that. So now you're going to spawn out the expression that I have in the description below. Now you're going to spawn it on the world ground like this. That is so it doesn't weld to anything. And you can pick it up any way you want, it'll freeze in the air. That's intended. Don't weld this chip to anything. Just leave it like in the air, no constraints. Now, go to the wire menu, grab out your pod controller, place your pod controller on the plate. With left click, right click the pod controller, then right click the seat. That will link the pod controller to the seat. That way you can have controls while you're in the seat. So, grab your wire tool from the wire menu and click W to W on the pod controller, S to S on the pod controller, A to A on the pod controller, D to D on the pod controller, space to space on the pod controller, space on the plate of the control on the plate right here. Box is attached to the outer box of this, and swash is the keep upright plate that we have right there. And now the next part is the seat. The seat is connected to, the seat's right there, so just wire the seat. Door is this. This is the prop we're going to make our door. As well, I should have told you from the beginning, but the Doppler TV is absolutely necessary. So get this TV out. You could use the radios. The radios these all have the same wire inputs and outputs. This one just has a screen, and this one just looks nicer in the beginning. So what you're going to do is go to your wire tool back in your wire menu, go to category string, wire that to the category string on the output of the radar. There you go. And now no collide this to this plate. That. So make it flat just like this. Use point dot ship pose. Place your first point with the primary click. The second point on the edge bottom if you can on the screen. Right click to select your radar. Make sure 2 is moving to 1. There you go. And now we're going to use the normal precision tool to push it back, just like that. You can get the precision tool on the workshop as well, A lot of servers do carry this tool, but just if you're playing on your own server, you're going to need to subscribe to these tools. All right, weld this to your box. Then set the weight of that radar to approximately 2. Perfect. And now, before we do anything else with the expression 2 chip, right click it and then just hit upload and exit. That'll refresh the chip. So now we're going to install our door. So to install our door, point dash hit pose right here onto that bottom lip right on the elevator. Hold shift, then do it on the surface of this prop, but clicking down towards this edge in the middle. Right click to select the door, and then primary click to move entity in the queue menu. Right click to deselect, and then delete all to remove all your points. Now, there's plenty of ways to make the door open. Like you can place 2 points like this, make it open on that side. You can place 2 points like this, make it open like an inverted flipper. You could make it open like a tongue by accessing it right here. Or you could do it the other side with the axes like this. Or, I mean, there's plenty of ways you could do that, but I'm going to do a left hinged axis right here. Right click the box, attach point 2 to the box, point 1 will be connected to your door. Hit R, go to axis. Point 1 is going to be the door, point 2 is going to be the box. So once you have those two selected, no collide selected, 0, 0, 0, create constraint. Now you've created an axis on this door with your box. You don't want to these two things to collide. Now these things might be fine. This might need to be no collided to your box. The hydraulic is going to open your door. So we're going to grab the hydraulic from the wire tab, from the wire menu, left click the plate, left click the ground, left click the plate again to place it. So now you have a wire hydraulic, and go to precision alignment, and then make. Alright, so the next step you do after you have your hydraulic placed is you're going to create a point at the mass center of this box by left clicking it, then hold shift and left click this box. So now you don't have to do any attaching because you've already defined the entities by clicking on them. So now you right click the little bulb here to select that wire hydraulic. And now you go to point 1 and point 2, make sure they're selected as your entity 1 and entity 2. And make sure your width is set to 0 so you don't see the hydraulic. Make sure it's 0 all the way front to back. Create constraint. And now you have a hydraulic that can open and close your door. Now we're going to need a constant value because we might need to adjust that. This door is going to be very light. Just follow these values right here. 2000 for the first value as a number, 100 for the second value as a number. Place that down, and then wire your constant to the first highest value, then your damping to the second lowest value, that one. And now length, actually we have to place what we call our numpad. This allows you to access this key inside and outside of anything. So this will select a key that you want to use on your keyboard to open your door. I'm selecting the number 1 key. So now value on 52.2, value off 90. Make sure you get these two values. These distances are already pre-calculated for your ease. So now length, okay, we do that again. Length from the hydraulic to the output of the numpad. And now when we open this door, we should see that the door is starting to act like the way it usually does. Now, it's getting there. You see we're missing one crucial thing. we need something that limits this door from swinging out way too much. You know, you don't want the door to fly out over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to get that as straight as you can, like a 90-degree angle, without doing too much. But it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be good enough, really. So just like that, we're going to create a restricting rope. This is going to limit how far it can really swing out. So point dash hip pose from PA for your point 1 on this very corner center. Then on this very corner center, place point 2 and create a rope between the two, selecting point 1, selecting point 2, and make sure it's not rigid. Make sure it is not rigid. Set length to 0, width is 0, add length to 0, force limit is 0, and now create constraint. Now we have just created a restricting rope that avoids this door from like just doing its own thing. This is perfect, right? Yep, you're absolutely right. So there is one more step you need to do though. We need to create a ball socket between the box and this plate right here. So create 2 points mass center, just like that. And then right click to attach point 2 to the E2 using the menu right here. Now we're going to do ball socket advanced, and we're going to constrain this little E2 to the box. Awesome. So now when we steer this around, it should actually work this time. Alright, I didn't make my change of the numpad in my last dupe, so there we go. That should fix the spazzing problem we had. So don't forget to do that. So now we're in here, and you see now it works just fine. Look at that! Now you've got a moving box that can enter a tornado. Now, I'll show you a couple of clips of me entering tornadoes with a very similar box just like that.
That was chaotic.
Storm chasers that I haven't seen many people really attempt to do very well. It also has some very cool and key features like being able to jump. That is a very nice feature to have. But now you can also use the door to stabilize yourself. So there's plenty of advantages with actually using something like this. And the ride of actually being in a tornado is a lot more fun in this box. You're not spazzing around too much. You notice that any effect that you might get rotationally is you. And what you can do now is you could change the transparency of these things so that you could read the radar from the floor. There you go. So I hope you really enjoyed this tutorial on how to make your own special tornado box. This is Bay Maz, and if you've really liked this tutorial and if it's helped you out, I would recommend that you suggest this video to a friend, subscribe to my channel, and please provide me some likes because I want this content to be pushed forward. I think this is something that's so cool to storm chasers. See you in the next one.